If you liked Happy Gilmore 2, why? Also, you might find yourself really enjoying Spinal Tap 2. The end continues. They have a lot of similarities, and I'm going to get into them right now. Before I turn this review up to 11, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, I would appreciate it. It's free of charge, and you get to see more movie reviews, live streams, movie reactions from me in the future. Okay, let's talk Spinal Tap 2 in a spoiler-free review. Not that there's really anything to spoil outside of your time if you go to watch the movie. This Is Spinal Tap came out back in 1984. That was over 40 years ago. And a lot has changed since that time, and people have grown up. They've gotten older. They've gotten slower. They've gotten less funny. And that's the movie we have now. Almost all the cast returns in some capacity. A few of them are nothing but a glorified, hi, I'm in this film, and then they're never seen from again. But others, obviously the main crew, the main trio is here. To say they haven't missed a step would be disingenuous. They've missed several steps. Not that it's entirely their fault. This script is just not up to snuff with what we had back in the 80s. Rob Reiner directed the original and this new film. He also plays the same character in both movies, doing a documentary on this fictitious band that rose to stardom and then their star faded out fast. And so the first film chronicles the downfall and the final crescendo where they get to go play in Japan. It's a very funny movie. It's very creative. It pokes fun at the industry. You have a lot of talent on display. And for the sequel, all these years later, to just come back and regurgitate a lot of the same beats, do the same bullshit that so many of these modern legacy sequels do, where they just tip the hat and wink at the audience and do callbacks and even show old clips to remind you, is so basic and insulting and lazy and felt like something completely beneath the genius writing of Christopher Guest, who again does the script on this new movie. I'm a big fan of Christopher Guest movies. I love Waiting for Guffman. Best in Show is hilarious. I think A Mighty Wind is criminally underrated. He just gets me with the comedy, and it's not going to work for everyone because he does a British Office thing with his characters. He slowly builds to the humor, and then the jokes layer over the course of the movie, and a lot of it has this real world setting with really quirky characters. He does a lot of really dry humor. There's fun ad-libbing going on, of course, and on the spot impromptu acting, and almost none of that exists in Spinal Tap 2: The End Continues, which the title is probably the most creative thing about the film and the funniest thing. Last thing I'll say about these guys' age, shout out to Rob Reiner. He looks damn good still. These other guys have noticeably aged up. Reiner almost looks younger than he did back in the original. But let's talk about this motley crew. We have Christopher Guest reprising his role as Nigel. The always brilliant Michael McKean is back as David, and Harry Shearer, who I haven't seen in a very long time, is thankfully playing a not dressed up in bondage version of Derek this time. The premise is very straightforward and basic, fair for a comedy. It shouldn't be too complex. Let's just get to the humor of it all. We have a band that's been retired for 15 years since their last performance. So even though this documentary is taking place over 40 years since the first movie, inside of this universe, this band continued on for many since the 80s, only stopping 15 years ago. But now, thanks to a viral TikTok by Garth Brooks singing one of their famous songs, yeah, Garth Brooks is in this amongst like 15 other celebrity singers. This is what we're doing now with movies. This band has the opportunity to hit the stage one more time for one final curtain call. And that's really where the comparisons to Happy Gilmore 2 come in. Much like that film, Spinal Tap 2 is going to rely mainly on, hey, look it, that's the drummer from that band. That's the singer from that rock band. I know him. Memba? And on top of the Memba berries, there's going to be a ton of callback jokes, a ton of the callback songs. In fact, I'm not sure how many new songs there are. Maybe 2 in this one? Possibly 3. They're all folksy though. There's no rock music in the movie until the end. And again, like Happy Gilmore 2, they are going to show us old footage from the first film. Not as egregious as what Happy Gilmore 2 does, not to that level, but enough where I'm thinking, what are we doing with movies anymore? Can we not make a sequel anymore without putting the first one on this huge pedestal and like worshiping it? Even sequels back in the day, like Home Alone 2, Austin Powers 2, Ghostbusters 2. Yes, they were incredibly similar to their first movies, but they didn't come off as kissing the first movie's ass or looking at the audience and saying, remember how funny this was? No, instead they just took those same jokes and ran further with them. They complimented the first movie rather than pointing back to the first movie and saying, hey, we have nothing new. But remember this. I know there's a lot of people out there that hate Ghostbusters 2. I happen to like it. That's fine if that discredits me and all my tastes, but I think it was a fine follow-up. All that stuff aside, the biggest issue for me with this film is it's not funny. And for a comedy to not be funny is a problem. In fact, before the movie started, there was a trailer for a new British comedy. It's another parody film like The Naked Gun. I unfortunately cannot remember the name right now, but I laughed harder in that trailer than I did at any point in Spinal Tap 2. And again, Christopher Guest movies aren't necessarily laugh out loud things. They're more chuckles and smirks and kind of like, ha, that was clever. I didn't get that from this at all. Because the actors are older and so they're not firing as quick with the jokes, and because Christopher Guest naturally writes characters that are slower talking and scenes breathe a little bit longer for jokes to hit and comedy just coming from the silences, nothing fires at all here. Everything is stale and flat. And the audience in the theater was dead silent the whole time. All four of us. Now, I'm not going to come out and say this movie is a total miss. There were a couple jokes that landed, but yeah, it kind of was a total miss. Again, just like Happy Gilmore 2. And if you're going to this movie not really caring if you laugh at all, you just want to see the OG cast back again for one more ride, well, then you don't need to listen to me. You've made up your mind, and I hope you're happy with what you get. I truly am. I don't care, obviously. If someone likes this movie, that's great. I'm, of course, let down. I think the first one's great. I like Christopher Guest's work. I like a lot of Rob Reiner's earlier movies for sure. So it was disappointing seeing this one again. And from a directing standpoint, I didn't get a documentary style to this one like I did the first time around. This does not have that raw look that the first one did. It's too polished this time around. And it never uses the documentary style to really land any jokes. It doesn't play off of it at all, which makes it completely useless. I was kind of hoping for, / expecting, that we would see some of the mainstays show up. Where was Catherine O'Hara? Where is the trusted Eugene Levy? No Jane Lynch, no Jennifer Coolidge, no Ed Begley Jr. or Parker Posey. I spotted two. I saw two past actors that he's used before outside of the main cast. And that's just not enough. And also, we're talking about a modern comedy. Could we not get any modern comedians in this film? Could we not get any funny actors to join the crew? The couple people they did bring on, one of them is this douchey agent guy. 0 laughs from me, did not like the character, and then he just kind of unceremoniously leaves at the end. It was like, what was the point of him? What was the point of this movie? I guess is what I kept thinking to myself. Who is the audience that wanted this, and are they getting what they really wanted here? The Spinal Tap 2 movie will perform to a very small audience and will fade into obscurity very quickly. All right, there you have it. My thoughts on Spinal Tap 2. The end continues. What a disappointment. What an unneeded sequel. Again, what was it for? What was the point? At least I have the original. It's only an hour and 22 minutes long, just like this one. Although this movie felt way longer because, again, with no humor infused, you're just sitting there watching paint dry. Let me know if you saw the movie already or if you were amped up to see it, but now not so much. Leave a comment below. Please, again, I would appreciate it if you sub to Adam Does Movies on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. I obviously don't hold back on my opinions on movies. I'm actually very sad to report this, but I suppose it's appropriate since the band has a song about a woman's derriere. Spinal Tap 2 is buns. All right, that's all I have for you. Hopefully I see you next time. Take care. If you appreciate my content, I am a one-man band. This is a ton of work, and you want a way to give back. Head on over to patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies. There's tons of exclusive perks over there. Look at these awesome supporters so far. There's some of the best people on this planet, and you could be one of them. You could be right there alongside, and I would appreciate it.